Welcome back to the Relationships Made Simple for Men podcast with me, Bryce Bauer. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to not lose your shit. And I get asked this a lot by men who have a pattern of losing their cool, blowing up, shutting down, and they're not seeing the best results in their relationship because of that. And guys are smart. They know whenever I do this, it doesn't go well. Sometimes my wife gets really anxious or really mad, and it turns into this whole big fight. And I know it could be avoided, but I don't know how to stop it once it starts. And it's a really good question because even if you're only blowing up once in a while or shutting down once in a while, even once every few days is going to cause a lot of chaos in your relationship. And if you don't repair from that the first time, it continually builds, more damage is created, trust is lost. And honestly, your partner is either really frustrated with you or scared of you, or both, because she doesn't know when the shoe's going to drop. She may live in constant paranoia that you're going to get frustrated, blame her, stonewall her, or go into some long lecture, whatever your strategy is when you get activated. So this really is something that you need to figure out. And to answer this question, I have to start with some context, because often what guys are thinking about or asking about is how can I change this in the moment? But if you are already pretty stressed out in your life, not taking care of yourself, and you're already, let's say, a 5 out of 10 activated, when your partner brings up something or asks you something or does something, it's harder to control going from a 5 to an 8 or a 5 to a 10 than it would be if you were more resourced, more calm, more online, emotionally and mentally to handle this. And when I use this activation scale of 0 to 10, I'm really talking about stress on your nervous system and in your mind. So you could think about it like a 0 being completely zen, at peace, calm, relaxed, and a 10 being totally out of control. You are in your fight, flight, or freeze response, and you aren't thinking logically. Your IQ has dropped, and it's hard to make sense of reality when you're in this place. This is where people begin to think that their partner is just out to get them, just trying to cause them pain, doesn't care about them. They really think that they're in danger. And most of the time, this is a delusion, meaning it's not reality. It's just existing in our minds because we're scared. So if I refer to this activation scale, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now, going back to this question of how do I not get too activated when my partner does something or says something? The bigger question you need to ask yourself is how well are you managing your emotional space and your mental space and your physical space throughout the day? Because that's what's going to set you up for success or failure. Many guys wake up and start the rat race immediately. The to-do list comes rushing in. They need to get ready, get to work, or do something with the kids. The stress just gets piled on. And maybe they can handle it. It feels normal. Drink some coffee, pound an energy drink, just get busy, whatever it takes to get yourself moving. But as they keep that up throughout the day, it begins to wear them down. And by the time they get home, they're totally spent. For some people, this is the first time that they're seeing their partner since the morning, and they're completely emotionally exhausted. And the crazy thing is that most people don't realize that they're in this place because they're still in their heads, still thinking about what needs to get done. And when their partner tries to connect with them, or asks them to do something, it can be like the straw that breaks the camel's back. All of a sudden, it's too much. And if you're not paying attention to this, if you have a blind spot here, you can really believe that your partner is the problem. Don't they know how hard you work today? How stressed you are? Why would they ask you to do anything? Why would they try to connect with you? Why don't they just give you a break? If you haven't spent any time together working out this pattern, it can happen over and over and over again. She might be stressed out too, and you have no way to slow down and to hold space for your stress, to have compassion for each other, to listen, to connect with each other, to understand each other more, and to put the to-do list on the back burner. I hear this story over and over again. And transitions when you're coming back together after being away from each other for a while can be complex. It can take some work to manage. There's a lot of sensitivity there. And so when guys ask me, how can I not get so frustrated at home? I want them to think about the environment that they've created for themselves throughout the day, and also to be mindful of these moments of reconnection. And if you want to be an emotionally available, secure partner, you have to know your pattern and your strategies. Whether you shut down or defend or blame, you have to be able to create accountability for yourself and call yourself out and notice what you're doing. Understand the situations and triggers that put you into that place of protection or defense. What we want to create essentially is a second consciousness. It's like having a little voice that comes through, like a little coach, this wise part of ourselves that says, hey, that's not going to work this time. In fact, it never works. Slow down, breathe, soften your tone and body language, have compassion for yourself and your partner. You can do this different. And that's the voice that pops into my head over and over. I'm not saying I don't go into my strategies, but this second consciousness has gotten pretty loud, and I'm grateful for it. I've been through this enough times that I know what the easier path is long term. It's really draining and inefficient to get into a fight over nothing and then to start fighting about fighting and have that spiral and continue for days or weeks or months. That's what really sucks. That's what really makes couples feel hopeless. When we know that the smallest thing could create a huge blow up where we're not talking to each other or bickering or yelling at each other, and there's no way to resolve this, no wonder couples want to give up. And then you carry this stress into the rest of your life. Most of what we worry about is relational. We are constantly having imaginary conversations in our head, and they're either positive or negative. We're telling ourselves stories about ourselves that are either positive or negative, and we're telling ourselves stories about our partner that are positive or negative. And if we can't get out of that loop, we might start to really believe that our partner is a bad person or that we're a bad person. And that's no good. That colors all of our experience. So if this is something that you want to get good at, you have to have some framework, you have to have some practice, you have to learn some skills. And often people need support in order to do that. I've been a part of a men's group for many years, and I have a personal coach, and Jenny and I still see a couples counselor. And even people at the highest levels of any sport or profession still seek guidance because that's what it takes to get better at whatever you're doing. And it's not like you have to be in therapy forever. Once you learn enough, you can start to do this on your own more and more. But I highly recommend that you take on the mindset of whatever it takes. It's not let me try a few things and see if it works. It's I know what I want and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. That's the mindset that is most empowering. And if you think about it, there are only a handful of things in life that you really want to get right. And relationships are probably near the top. Maybe they're number one. And the cool thing about having this mindset is when you are giving it 100% of your effort, you feel good about it. This is what really builds self-esteem, is when you have the receipts, you've seen that you've put in the work, you really do have more knowledge. It's not a guarantee that the relationship will work out, but it's guaranteed to change it in some way for the better. And when two people have that mindset at the same time, that is a powerful force. And for Jenny and I, we've really adopted this. So when something comes up, no matter how small it is, we make it a priority to figure it out. And when we can't do it on our own, we get support and we keep the slate really clean. It's not that we don't have some things that we're constantly making space for. We don't agree on everything. Jenny and I are actually very different. But anytime I go into my response, it's a cue to get back to work. There's probably some way I've not been taking care of myself, something in me that needs more attention. And when I can understand that and bring that to Jenny, and if she's doing the same thing, we continue to build on that trust and security in the relationship. And if you're wondering about just a few quick tips, these are actually top of mind because we just held a private couples retreat and we were going through some of these. I'd say there are 3 big don'ts when tensions are high. Number 1 is don't threaten to leave the relationship. That never works. 2, don't invalidate your partner for how they're feeling. Don't tell them they shouldn't feel this way. And number 3, don't do anything really scary. Don't punch a wall. Don't slam a door. Don't jump in the car and speed off without saying anything. Be an adult, not a child. Those are the three don'ts for damage control. If you can muster the strength to say, hey, I'm feeling really activated, I'm going to go take care of myself and I'll follow back up with you in 30 minutes or an hour or tomorrow morning if it's night. That might be a hard day for you, but it's a good day for your relationship. You need to be able to say something like that. And if you're thinking about three things that you can do that will really facilitate more safety, and this is especially for men, soften your tone and body language, make eye contact, and really try to understand your partner's position before you go into defense or explaining. And there's this whole skill set I could teach you, but just at a basic level, ask them, what is it that you're wanting me to do here? Or what about this is upsetting to you? Maybe there's something you have to take ownership for. Yeah, I am late. I said I'd be home at 5 and I was back at 6. That's my bad. What was it like for you while I was running late? Oh, well, I was feeling frustrated because dinner was ready, or I didn't know where you were. And you might say something like, okay, that makes sense. I can see that. I know that communication about when we're going to be home matters to you. This couple that came in to see us this past week actually had something like that happen, and we had taught them some skills, and something that could have blown up into a big fight that could have gone on for days was resolved in minutes. And they were so excited about it. And they should be. When you know that something could blow up in your face and you fix it within a matter of a few sentences, that should feel good. You should give yourself a pat on the back. I love when that happens. Seriously, I feel really proud of myself when Jenny and I avoid something escalating. It means that we're actually using the skills. It means that we're progressing and we don't have to live in that confusion and frustration and disconnection. So that's what I got for you today. If you're finding this helpful, subscribe or follow me for more episodes. I'll talk to you next week. Peace.